Um, Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming to this session. Thank you very much, Marga, for the good introduction to the session. So I want to talk about archaeological artifacts that could have been used as sound producing implements or as musical instruments. And my topic is experimental approach to archaeological musical instruments, acoustics, bone clappers and bullroarers from Marks River site in South Africa. So the site of Marks River is located on the southern Cape Coast of South Africa. It is known as a site which has the largest shell midden among the later Stone Age sites in the Southern African region. And from the number of excavations that have been conducted in the previous years, about 120 human remains associated with grave goods have been recovered from this site. And from this site, there were also some sound or music producing artifacts that were recovered from the excavations. And these include flutes and spinning disc. So on the map, the site of Marks River is marked in blue on the edge of South Africa, on the coastline. So in this research, I looked at the flat bones which were recovered from the later Stone Age context. And previously, these flat bones were interpreted as pallets that were used for grinding ochre. And the pictures that you are seeing are the examples of the archaeological flat bones. So I had a query about the earlier hypothesis that the flat bones could have been used for grinding ochre, because I thought hypothetically or practically it would be easy for someone to grind ochre using a grinding stone, as you can see on this slide. So I took another hypothesis that I wanted to test, which was that these flat bones, they could have been used as bone clappers for music or sound production. The reason why I argued, or why I thought that the flat bones could have been used as sound producing implements, was that ethnographically, there are some cultural groups which use bone clappers even up to today. For example, as we are seeing on the slide, those are some examples of bone clappers that are used by groups that are found in South Africa today. For example, the Zorana people, as well as the Zulu. And the young girl that you are seeing on this slide, she's a Zorana girl who is playing bone clappers. So the way she's handling the clappers, that's another way in which bone clappers can be played. But that method is a bit tricky, and you have to be really skilled for you to hold both clappers in one hand, and then you can move your fingers, and then the bone clappers collide against each other, and then they will produce the clapping sound. So besides South Africa, bone clappers are used in Botswana. And it is interesting to note that in Botswana, they are used in church contexts. As you can see on the slide, those ladies are in church and they are playing bone clappers. And in Zimbabwe, clappers are also used, but mostly wooden clappers and not bone clappers. So in Zimbabwe, the wooden clappers are mainly used during traditional dances. So the methods that I used in this research, I first did a microscopic analysis of the archaeological pieces, because I wanted to find out whether I was going to find any ochre signatures on the bone pieces, since it was alleged that they might have been used for grinding ochres. The assumption was that if they were used to grind ochre, then I was supposed to find at least some ochre signatures on the bone surfaces. And I also did a random morphological analysis of the bones by looking at their length and also width, if they could be held in someone's hand. And I figured out that if they are used as bone clappers, they could actually fit well in someone's hand, and then they could be used as bone clappers. So I also did an experimental work where I looked for fresh bones that I used as bone clappers. The reason why I looked for these clapper replicas was that I wanted to play them as clappers, and then I wanted to find out what kind of useway I would develop on the bones after I used them as clappers. And this information was going to guide me to find bone clappers from the archaeological record. So what I did, I took micrographs before and after use of the replica clapper, such that I could compare the useway patterning with that one that I found on the archaeological pieces. And those are the two replica pieces that I used in the experiment. So I would want to play a video for you. I just want you to hear the sound that is produced by the bone clappers. I'll just play it for like 15 seconds, and then you can listen to the sound. So that's how the bone clappers sound. So I was doing this during the experiments. So after playing the replica clappers, I then took some micrographs afterwards. And as you can see on this slide, I took the micrographs before and after use. So the A, B that are a bit clearer, it was before use, and then C and D, it was after use. So what I realized was that the bones, they changed in terms of color and they became darker. And also there were some shiny luster spots which also developed as a result of concussion. But however, these shiny luster particles were not pronounced. It was just to a little bit extent, so there wasn't much change, but much change was visible in terms of color. And even the second clapper as well, it didn't change that much, but it just changed into darker from a bit clearer. But if you look at picture C and D, you will see some shiny luster particles, like just small spots. So these were common on the middle section of the bone clappers, and this shiny luster appearance was after the concussion process when I played the replicas as clappers. So what you are seeing now, these are the micrographs that I got from the archaeological pieces. So what I found out was that the first archaeological piece, it also had a little bit of shiny luster, but however, it was superimposed with manganese stains, as you can see on A. And on B, I found some no marks from rodents, and they also had some cracks, as you can see. So this is what I found out on the archaeological pieces, but there was no ochre signatures. And on the second piece, I also found some cracks, as well as a little bit of shiny luster, as well as manganese stains as well, and some cracks. And on the last piece, I also found some cracks, root etching, and manganese stains as well. And on this one, there was no pronounced luster like from the previous pieces. So what did my results indicate? From these results, I realized that it is difficult to identify bone clappers from the archaeological record using microscopic analysis. So as a suggestion, I thought that perhaps it could be better if somebody gets hold of bone clappers that have been used for a longer time, and then one can look at those under the microscope, and then they can compare the results with the archaeological pieces. Because what I was trying to test, I wanted to examine if I could identify bone clappers from the archaeological record, but however, the method wasn't that useful. So it seems like morphologically, the flat bone pieces, they could have been used as clappers. I'm now switching on to Bullroarers. So there are 4 pieces which were recovered from Marquis River, which are the ones that are written on top, or the darker ones. So these were previously interpreted as pendants. And as you can see, it really makes sense that they could have been used as pendants. But however, by looking at their shape as well, they could have been used as Bullroarers. So at the end, we ended up doing an experiment where we replicated the archaeological pieces, and then the replicas, they were spun as Bullroarers in order to test the hypothesis whether the archaeological pieces were used as Bullroarers or not.
3 minutes left. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay. So a Bullroarer is a flat oblong piece of bone wood with a one wall on one end where one can put a string, and it can be spun above the head or perpendicular to the body. A Bullroarer, when played, it produces a powerful whirring sound. So like I mentioned earlier, dependence from Marquis River morphologically or dimensionally similar to other non-Bullroarers. The experiment indicated that the spinning action of the replicas, it produced the Usue concentration on the lateral sides, which was either on the left or on the right side of the concentration. So among the 4 pieces, only one piece had the Usue, which matched the Usue which was found on the replicas. And this was MR40, the one that you are seeing on this slide. And when we measured the frequency of the Bullroarer, its frequency was around 55.55 hertz. And this was measured using the Pro software. So I just want you to listen to the sound of the Bullroarer. So that's the sound of the Bullroarer. As you can tell, it is just a powerful whirring sound. And then the question arises, can we say that a Bullroarer is a musical instrument or not? And that's the question for another day. And then in conclusion, one of the 4 pendants, it was realized that it was used as a Bullroarer based on its sound output production, as well as the Usue concentration, which matched the Usue concentration which was found on the replicas. And the other 3 pieces, it was identified that they could have functioned as pendants because they had Usue concentration on the top of the perforation. And it is also interesting to note that we also have evidence of people who are playing Bullroarers that is found in the rock art of South Africa in the Cedarburg at Doring River site. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Joshua.